So I just whacked on some deep house, and that's how I ended my 4-month-long dry spell. And we're live.
You are now listening to Radio Rufus.
Hey, Mr. Blue Sky, and welcome back to another carcinogenic episode of Radio Rufus. That's right, watching this will give you cancer, but it's worth it for the mental health benefits. As always, I am joined by my in remission co-host, Aidan. Hello, say hello, Aidan.
Hello.
He does all the production work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes.
Yeah.
He's all over the scenes. Absolutely loves it. Scenes. As always, we bring you the latest and greatest from the world of news, except we won't be covering any relevant topics that have any sort of impact on any major global issues. We'll be talking about things like a woman saying being kicked off a flight gave her cancer. That's true. That's coming up soon. Some of the scoops might not be quite as fresh as you'd imagine, because obviously we are like the it's going to be a cancer themed intro. I've just decided. We are like the tumour being blasted with the X-ray of the vintage podcast studio. As always, we bask like basking sharks in the tropical waters of our beautiful stew. We are nearing our target like a heat-seeking missile of 20,000 subscribers. So make sure you smash that like button with your deformed big toe, and the subscribe button and the bell. And if they've come up with some new buttons since that one as well, so we can get there. And as always, leave a comment. Tell us what your favourite bit of the pod was, your least favourite bit. We're open to criticism, constructive or not. We don't care, but we're trying to improve the show for everybody. Now, let's see what hit the headlines this week. A woman has claimed she got cancer because her dog wasn't allowed on a plane. A slapping therapist has been found guilty of manslaughter after convincing a diabetic woman not to take insulin. And some firemen have rescued a horse from a bog. Really scintillating stuff this week. Let's get into it with our first story then. And like 2015 Cody Co, we return to California after doing something dodgy. A mental West Coast woman, probably living in an alternate reality on a strong cocktail of, I don't really know what people in California get up to, but I imagine it's sort of venti lattes, astrologies, and just sort of general entitlement. Anyway, she's suing JetBlue, the airline, claiming that a, quote, cruel staff member refused to let her fly with her, quote, emotional support dog in business class. This is exactly in line with the airline's policies, and also the US federal law explicitly bans emotional support dogs on planes.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of an emotional support dog. If you're blind, fine.
Yeah.
Have a dog.
She just has it there for her sake. Like, it's not as if it's like a guide dog.
No, yeah. It's like a depression dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Most dogs give you depression.
No, they fill me with a sort of sinful lust to pump them to the moon, but most dogs. Yeah, I don't like dogs at all. I hate the idea of an emotional support dog, and I hate little dogs in handbags on planes. Yeah. And people always do this. It's always like old grannies trying to pretend that they don't have a dog in a bag.
It's so blatant that they do.
Because they think, like, if they get found out,
what are they going to do? They might ask you to leave. Like, they're not going to do anything.
And they're literally sneaking them pretzels from the tiny little bag they give you when they come around. You know what I mean? It's like, and I hate the idea of an emotional support dog. I think get a grip if you need one of those. This is what happened. The staff member said they would have to move to economy, because you can't have a dog in business class, and put the dog in a bag if they wanted to travel.
Mm-hmm.
The dog did not fit in their bag. So the flight attendant said, basically, take some shit out of your bag.
Make it fit.
Squeeze it in there if you have to. Fold it up like a pretzel.
Or picturing someone like trying to squeeze it in.
Contort a dog, yeah. Or get off the plane. They were like, we're not squeezing the dog into the suitcase.
Yeah.
So they were removed from the flight. And basically what this woman is saying is that the humiliation from JetBlue led to the following. She was previously a stage 4 cancer patient, which is like, that's the worst one.
Is stage 5 death?
I don't know.
Stage 4 is bad anyway.
Stage 4 is bad for sure.
Yeah.
Stage 4 is like, that's like what Walter White had. He was like, I'll start dealing drugs now because I got nothing else to live for. Stage 4 is when I would consider mainlining drugs and skydiving into an active volcano to end my life.
It's a pretty cool way to go.
There's no way back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know, having a threesome with your mate. Like you cross the threshold and suddenly your relationship is no longer the same.
Yeah.
Speaking of, have you been tested for prostate or testicular cancer lately?
I haven't been, no. You?
I just do it recreationally though. I quite like it.
Would you just give a feel?
I don't care about if I have the cancer or not.
Can you test mine?
I just want them to squeeze. I just want them to give me a squeeze.
Yeah.
I go too often, to be honest.
Weekly?
Oh, yeah, twice a week. If
You're
I'm
meant to get it done
fruity.
like every 6 months, aren't you?
Yeah, but you can never be too safe.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had it. I probably do have ball cancer. I've never been told otherwise.
Yeah. I don't really know the symptoms other than, well, the main one is one of your testicles swelling up to the size of a satsuma. But
Okay, maybe not then. I do have a friend.
I feel like you're the kind of guy whose testicles were already the size of a satsuma. So like,
I was about to say, a friend that watches this show,
yeah.
he self-confessed having a really tiny cock, but a massive ball bag.
Right.
Like just it looks like if you
They do call him the pendulum. You know Newton's cradle. Do you know that set of 4 balls, and if you pick one up, then it hits the one on the end, and then it goes back up. That's like his
that kind of setup.
Yeah,
but it's sort of deceptive because sometimes you look and you're thinking, "Fuck, he actually has a decent bulge in him," but it's just all bag.
Right. Speaking of decent bulge, do you remember London 2012 Olympics, bronze medal rower, and he had to deny having a boner on the podium?
I don't remember that. No.
So basically, there's a picture, you might be able to bring it up, of basically a guy absolutely rock hard receiving a bronze medal. You want to look at brother in the middle has a hog on him.
Yeah, there's no denying that. You can't even pretend that that's just bulge. That is full on. That is an erect cock.
It's decent as well. Like I reckon people use the phrase "he's got a hammer on him." You could throw that hammer for an Olympic gold. Like it's not bad. And then he had to come out and deny it. You can't walk that back.
Yeah, I don't think I'd deny it. I'd just be like, yeah, I got excited.
Imagine if he'd won a gold. That was only got bronze. I'd
probably try and deny it if it was really small.
Yeah,
and it looked like just a little fucking hard tic tac.
You know what I hate about the Olympics?
What?
You know when they give them the medals, they've always got to give them a shitty little thing as well. Well as the medal,
like flowers or something.
Like for this Olympics, it's like a poster. Like maybe I'm just a cynical guy, but that's going straight in the bin. I don't want that.
It's like whenever you used to like pre-order a Call of Duty game, and they give you like this pre-order bonus would be like a DLC or a fucking poster or something. You'd far rather that than some random Olympic shit.
I don't want, or they give you flowers. Like what am I going to do with these? They're going straight in the bin as soon as I go home.
I see some people on TikTok complaining that the first set of flowers a man usually gets is at his funeral. But I don't want flowers. What the fuck would a... Well, fair enough.
What are you going to do with anything else, though?
Yeah.
What do you want?
I don't really want
pre-order Call of Duty, for heaven.
I just don't want flowers. Like, I'm okay for that.
Yeah. I find an open casket funeral very creepy. Like the fact that you can just look the dead man right in the eyes.
Yeah, I've never seen one of them. I've been to obviously wakes and stuff where the dead person's just chilling out in the coffin, open casket.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, especially whenever it's like a car accident or something. There's one I went to where
you brought that up like that. Everyone goes to those all the time.
I mean, people die of car accidents regularly, especially in fucking Ireland. But
well, mate, I can never go. I know you go to about 2 a week, but I'm always getting a prostate exam. So,
there's priests there; they'll do that for you.
Oh yeah, 2 and 1.
Yeah, but there's one I went to where someone was in a really bad car crash, and everyone at the wake was basically told you can't touch his face because it's like more or less just placed back on.
Just Play-Doh.
Yeah,
right.
Because sometimes people would like.
Why would you touch his face?
People like kiss them and
Ugh.
yeah, and like maybe a family member maybe like give a wee cheek rub or something or. But this we were advised.
I had a family member who died, and they played the Top Gear theme at his funeral.
That's class.
Yeah, he was a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fair enough. On tonight's program, My uncle dies. Right. Let's go back to this then. So basically, she had cancer.
Yeah.
Then she didn't have cancer anymore. And then due to the stress of this episode, she checked herself back into the hospital and the cancer's made a full comeback. And now she's filed a lawsuit saying that her dog was actually a service dog, which are allowed, not an emotional support dog.
You're not fitting a fucking service dog in your handbag.
I don't know.
Have you ever seen like a Chihuahua service dog?
I
They're
don't
usually like big things, are they not?
Are they?
Yeah. Well, the ones that like blind people have.
Yeah. But I don't really think they need those because what's the stick for?
Yeah, true.
Mm.
I just don't think that's how it works either. Like, surely she's aware that it's difficult to draw any kind of correlation between her.
How does the blind person know that the dog's not blind?
How does a dog know where to go?
Yeah, that's true, because dogs are like, they have no concept of our civilization.
Yeah, like if I need to go to the post office and the dog takes me to the fucking park,
Yeah.
like that's no good to me. Does it have some sort of GPS?
Yeah, that would suck if you like needed to go to the hospital for something vital and they took you to like the chippy. Anyway, basically, she said, my dog is a service dog, having previously said it was an emotional support dog. So what she's done there is basically filed a lawsuit in which she's admitted to fraud.
Yeah.
So she's basically told on herself, which is just a genius move. And she's got cancer. So, and she didn't get on the plane. So she's taken 3 L's in one there.
Yeah, like I've been shafted a few times by Ryanair, but I'd really find it difficult to find an angle to pin my asthma on them. So I don't know where she thought this was going to work.
God knows. How did you get shafted by Ryanair?
They're just fucking scumbags, and they'll like charge you. You know, whenever you're late on the plane, and they're like,
I've never been late for a plane in my whole life.
I don't mean late, but you're coming on. You're at the sort of like the back of the queue, and then they're trying to charge people for bags because the overhead storage is filling up, and they'll be like measuring it or trying to like weigh it, and they'll be like, I don't know if that fits, and you're like pushing it down, it fucking fits. And they'll maybe let you go away with it on the way over, then the return flight on the same fucking airline, they're like, I don't know about that.
Well, I
try and charge you like 60 quid for it.
I think they should weigh you and your bags together. Because like it's about weight, right? The more heavy the plane is, the more fuel it uses, so it costs them more.
I think it's more for the bags, for the size of it. It's just to fit in the overhead. For suitcases and stuff, that's different. They weigh the suitcases.
Yeah.
But they don't weigh like cabin luggage, is it called? Cabin luggage, yeah.
Well, okay. That's fine. I still think my point stands that they should weigh you and your suitcase.
I do think as well, sort of similar to what you're saying, if you have let yourself go to the point where you're spilling over onto a second seat, pay for that second seat.
Or like special fat seats at the back.
Yeah.
Because not only does that provide additional rear stability to the plane, decreasing turbulence.
Yeah, true.
Right, so that's physics there, that's good. But also, make those like double the price. Big incentive for people to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a big lad, but
You only need one seat.
Yeah, I've never even came close to spilling onto a second seat.
Yeah.
Surely that's whenever alarm bells start ringing. Or whenever you're...
It's a wake-up call.
You know people that they're queuing up for like a fucking... a ride at like a fun fair or like Thorpe Park or something, and they're denied access to it because they're too heavy.
They can't even close like the seat on them.
I would off myself right there and then. That would be the
I used to have a history teacher who was so fat she couldn't put one leg straight in front of the other because it would get in the way. So she was forced to waddle everywhere because she literally couldn't walk in a straight line.
There's something hilarious about a fat man's waddle though.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah.
And fat people falling will never not be funny. Especially whenever they fall in like 3 different stages.
Yeah. Do you think like... You know what I've never seen, speaking of falling? I've never seen someone slip on ice who wasn't white.
That's a great point. I'm
Never
thinking back now.
Never seen it. Also, I don't live in a place with loads of black people, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But, so there's a bit of sort of selection bias there. But still...
I'll update that this winter because I'm living in London now.
Yeah.
So if it happens,
There's some
I'll
black
see
people
it.
in London, yeah.
Whereas in Ireland, like I only met a black person when I was like 17.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot to base that off. But yeah, as far as I can remember, I'm only picturing white people slipping on ice.
Yeah, and in every video I've ever seen of people falling over on ice. So if you're a person of color out there and you've slipped on ice before, write into the show.
Let us know.
Let us know your story. Let's move on to our next headline here: a slapping therapist guilty of manslaughter. A quote alternative healer. Already alarm bells ringing.
That is a synonym for con man.
Yeah. Has been found guilty of negligent manslaughter after a woman died at one of his workshops. So the first alarm bell, alternative healer.
Yeah.
Second alarm bell, and I'm not I'm not trying to make generalizations about people, but his name's Hong Xiao, right?
It's a great pronunciation.
Cheers. But can I trust this guy? Because I feel, about traditional Chinese medicine, right? They're grinding up rhino horn.
Yeah.
All this
They
sort of
don't
stuff.
believe in like modern medicine as much as the Western world,
No.
the rest of the Western world.
Because, and we did this at school when I studied Chinese. So basically, traditional Chinese medicine was developed way before Western medicine.
Yeah.
Because China was a much more advanced civilization. They had ice cream and fireworks
Long before.
long before, in the BC years. But what that meant is they didn't really know much about the human body.
Yeah.
So they decided it was based on 12 organs that they sort of,
Discovered.
they sort of just dreamt up because they didn't really know.
Yeah.
And then when modern biology and anatomy started and they started cutting open people, they realized the organs they talk about aren't there at all.
Right.
They just made some shit up and wrote it in a scroll, and suddenly it's the truth.
Yeah.
Because that's how a lot of Chinese history works. Like,
So all history works.
yeah, like some bald man with a scroll, the one sort of the shaman in the village, like rubbed some tiger skin oil on his wife once.
Yeah. And she was miraculously better.
Yeah.
I feel like this is slightly the woman's fault for genuinely believing that getting bitch slapped by just some random Chinese man that was going to cure her diabetes.
Yeah. We'll get into that. I agree with you, and I think some details about this will back up your point here. So basically, he was found guilty last week of the death of a woman from diabetes-related complications in 2016. So this guy's been running
This
free
is a
for a while.
repeat offender.
The jury was told that at his special retreat in Wiltshire, she stopped taking insulin in favour of his slapping therapy. So Xiao is a practitioner of Paida Lajin, which is an alternative Chinese therapy where essentially they sort of, I think it's an updated version of the old sort of rub it better technique.
Yeah.
Like sort of the magic rub will get rid of the pain. Basically, they beat the shit out of you, and that gets the disease. That sends the disease away.
Yeah.
I think it just works for everything, really. Got a cold? Left hook to the nose.
I think this might actually be my dream job. Just slapping people up for a living.
Yeah, you need to get in touch. So she stopped taking insulin. She began fasting, which is also a terrible idea if you've got diabetes. And then had this sort of Shaolin monk-esque figure regularly beat her before dying on day 4. Day 4.
You see as well, just you saying about being regularly beaten, whenever I initially read this article, I thought that, how do you pronounce his name? Hong
Xiao.
That. I thought that he just slapped her to death.
No.
Whenever it came up.
I think he was slapping everybody, but yeah, you would think, that's just assault and he killed someone.
Yeah.
But no.
It was convincing her to go cold turkey on the insulin that done it.
There's no convincing required.
She happily just...
Yeah. She believed that this just worked. So it's totally her fault. I mean, I'll be honest, this guy looks wise.
Yeah, he does. I would trust him. Look at the size of the fucking handlebars on him, though.
He wouldn't look out of place in a Tibetan monastery, this guy. Honestly. I'd actually... He looks trustworthy.
He looks a bit like a Guess Who character with them ears.
Yeah, a little bit. It gets worse, though, because Master Shifu over here also had a 6-year-old kid die at a workshop in 2015. So that's 2 kills in 2 years, and one of them's a child, after he advised his parents to stop giving him insulin.
How is he still running this service?
That one was in Australia. I assumed he just fled the country.
Yeah.
But I feel like, actually, that kid dying might have been for the best. Because, hear me out,
Right.
I don't like it when kids die.
That's a good statement
In general.
to make.
But, if... intelligence is genetic. And I think if your parents genuinely believe that taking you off life-saving medication at age 6 is a good thing to do, I think you've inherited some of that decision-making.
Yeah.
And I don't think you would be a net positive to the world either. So maybe just getting him off, just, dusting him off as early as possible was maybe a good thing for evolutionary.
For the future of humanity.
Yeah, Darwin would have approved of this. He entered a plea of not guilty, saying, "I'm not a doctor and I don't give medical advice."
He just simply does give medical advice.
No shit. That didn't work. So he's going to be locked up. Let's move on to story 3 now. And this doesn't sound very exciting on the face of it. Firemen rescue massive horse from Welsh bog is pretty much scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as excitement for anything we've ever covered. But basically, this horse is so much more stuck in the mud than you think he is. Like, imagine a horse stuck in a bog. He doesn't just have one hoof sort of trailing in the mud. He is in there. And if you're watching along on YouTube, you can see this chap is deep. He's over a meter deep in this thing.
How does he get into this? Is it a case where he fell in and was struggling to get himself out?
Even so, I don't understand how you get underneath that, because literally you can't see half the horse.
Yeah.
And he's on his side. You can't see his bottom legs. It's absolutely insane.
I know you said it doesn't sound like an interesting story, but this is probably still the most interesting thing to come out of Wales since like Gavin and Stacey.
I'm trying to think if there's anything
that even comes close.
Yeah. I don't really know anything about Wales.
We covered a story about the Ukrainian refugee that moved back.
Oh yeah, that was
Ukraine.
good. Wales was so bad, she moved back to Kiev. Yeah. That's a classic story. Basically, it took 2 hours to get this horse out of some mud, right? And it took 2 fire crews. And basically, similar to sinking in quicksand, basically it got a leg stuck and then just tired itself out trying to get out.
Yeah. And
really sunk into it. And it was rescued by using salvage sheets, a slide mat, strops, and shovels. And I only know what one of those items is out of those 4.
Is it shovel?
Shovel.
Yeah.
Which would have been my go-to, I think. Or,
I'm surprised they didn't just have someone local with a digger.
What,
just scoop it out.
Just tie it up.
Yeah, that would have been far easier.
Once rescued, apparently the horse was fine. So I guess that's good.
I wouldn't have thought this was a job for fucking firemen, though.
I was gonna say, this is not like firemen. Like rescuing cats from trees.
It's slightly more interesting than that, in fairness, but still.
But why do they do that? Because that's not their job.
It's definitely not in the description.
Why? They should. Yeah, you got to stop fires. No wonder.
Imagine there's like a huge fire going somewhere. Like, sorry, they're rescuing cats, so they'll get to you whenever they can.
Why? Yeah. Why do the firemen have to pull a horse out of a box? Oh, it's your horse, mate.
Yeah. I suppose there isn't a set job for rescuing horses, so they just kind of get everything.
Meanwhile, there's like an orphanage up in flames, and they're trying to get this.
This horse is really stuck. You don't realize.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to the sports segment then, and the Olympics has started up. Have you been watching it? You strike me as a man who couldn't give less of a shit about it.
Yeah, I really couldn't.
Yeah.
No.
And obviously the best Olympic event is
running.
I thought you were going to say women's beach volleyball.
I did see outrage on Twitter about it because they put them in trousers now.
Woke. It's just with the woke agenda, isn't it? I think your sort of fantasy would be like being the ball during the women's beach volleyball Olympic final.
I feel like that's more yours. Tell me you aren't dreaming of that daily.
I dream about it once every 4 years.
Right, okay, it's similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But anyway, obviously the marathon is a great event. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the marathon. And usually it's won by a sort of skinny African bloke who trains at high altitude and has a massive genetic advantage over everybody else.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a new contender because the Chinese are continuing their conquest of the entire continent of Africa. But they're not just buying up all the oil reserves in exchange for building some roads. They're coming for one of the few sports where the Africans are guaranteed a win. A random bloke nicknamed Uncle Chen.
Cool name. It's a cool nickname.
Great name. I think it's because nobody knows what he's called.
Yeah. This is
So
alias.
there's no record of his actual name, which is also really cool.
Yeah.
He completed a marathon in less than 3.5 hours in Shanghai last week, whilst chain smoking the entire way.
This is the man the people of tomorrow should be looking up to.
Yeah, and I think the chain smoking marathon immediately needs to be an event.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you get a minute knocked off the time for every cig you have.
Smoke, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
The one thing that would be a nightmare, can you imagine being caught in this fucker's slipstream as someone that's a non-smoker? You're just stuck behind him the whole time and absolutely.
And he's quick as well. Like, there's no way you'd be able to get past him.
You'd be fucked after 10 minutes, just inhaling all the second.
It'd be like being strapped to the top of like a coal train, wouldn't it? Or like living in Beijing.
It takes precision to successfully light a cigarette mid-run.
Yeah, and also like breathe it in properly.
Yeah, because it's not as if he's just got like a fucking, like Snoop Dogg's got a designated blunt roller.
Yeah.
It's not as if he has someone running alongside him lighting him up.
Or does he?
himself.
Because they usually have a water bottle guy.
Maybe he has a cigarette guy
who like lines it up and they hold out the water bottle and they want like a perfect handoff for the water bottle. And the water bottle guy celebrates when they do a perfect handoff, which I always think is funny because your job is so shit. But maybe he's got like a perfect, like maybe it's already lit and he just...
You know what it is? He runs past with a cigarette out and some fucker's standing there with the Olympic torch.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, this time is impressive. I mean, Proddy C, the producer of the Fellas podcast, colleagues of ours, he's an insufferable runner. Like, it consumes his whole life and it is his whole personality. Mm-hmm. And he was incredibly proud. I mean, we couldn't give a shit on this podcast. That's the official stance of us on marathons. But he was very proud of his 3 hours 59. I think he broke sub 4.
Yeah, it was sub 4. Definitely.
Well, this guy, who's a 62-year-old Chinese man who chain smokes during events, has smashed him by half an hour. So that is absolutely really crap. And
pretty impressive.
I've done the maths. If it takes about 6 minutes to smoke a cig, 3 hours 28 is 208 minutes. So that's 34 to 35 cigs smoked over the course of the run.
I would argue that he's smoking more than one every 6 minutes as well. Yeah,
that's a good point.
It makes marathons interesting, this though.
Yeah,
because I couldn't give a fuck about running generally, but seeing this, it draws eyes to it.
Is it more of an achievement? Yeah, right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's got to be harder.
It's against the odds to do this with fucking a fag hanging out of your mouth every run.
So, funny point about this is local media reportedly noted that Uncle Chen only smokes when he runs. So he's not even a smoker.
That is the most contrarian thing I've ever heard.
He only does it when he's doing a marathon. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. It's like being like, I only drink pints whenever I rock climb. There's no reason for it.
That'd be awesome. You know, they're climbing at the Olympics and they just race up that wall. What if you've got to carry a whole full pint and you can't spill any? Yeah. The whole way up.
Cool. I think they should get us on the board at the Olympics because it would be a lot more interesting for the new trip.
I've got loads of ideas for great events. Yeah. Wheelchair long jump. That's pretty much it, really. Yeah. Anyway, so in 2018, he did a 3 hour 36. In 2019, he did a 3 hours 32. Now he did a 3 hour 28. So he's improving as well.
Every time.
And he's not getting any younger.
Probably smoking more cigarettes every time too.
Yeah. Some pointed out, as your point, that the secondhand smoke might affect his fellow competitors. Others have suggested that the cigarettes might be a performance-enhancing drug and maybe a doping violation.
It does give you some kind of kick, though, doesn't it, a cigarette? Like the Nicky rush everyone talks about. I don't know whether it'll help you that much.
Do you think he's cheating? They should all do this at the Olympics.
Yeah, to even things out.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if I got in a K-hole and then tried to do the BMX, I'd get significantly worse. So,
yeah. But at the same time, like a line of cocaine before a 100-meter sprint, I'm probably winning that.
Do you think?
That's a PED.
They had a thing about doing the enhanced games. You've heard about this?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They need to do the drug enhanced games where, I don't know, you spin a wheel and you have to do the drug that it lands on, and then you got to do the event or something.
So there could be someone on like fucking mushrooms and someone on speed
Playing
competing
table
against
tennis.
each other.
Yeah, mate, the LSD diving would be such a great event. Trying to like push druggies off that 10-meter board.
Just feed them full of fucking edibles before they dive. They'd be freaking out. The shark's gonna get me.
The drunk shooting would be a dangerous event. Just taking pot shots at each other. If you were in second place in the shooting, would you just shoot the guy in first?
If I had something in my system, I might be convinced.
Yeah. Yes, I always wonder, why don't they just do that? Because then you automatically win.
Yeah, and they're not going to not give you the gold medal with
you
a
won.
shotgun in your hand.
Yeah, you won. Yeah. Hold the IOC at gunpoint. Princess Anne just quivering in her boots. Anyway, let's move on to our newest segment. It's time for Your Ranker. Today we're ranking the top 3 things that feel gay but actually aren't. Aidan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is, it's kind of like a primary school special, this one. So it involves a few things that you do back in the day that would have deemed you gay. Number 1 in this list is using a skipping rope. 2 is playing hopscotch. 3 is being in the choir. And 4 is just simply not playing football.
Okay.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I think skipping rope's the worst offender out of those 4. Gotta be.
And also the choir. People got so much shit in my primary school for being in the choir, even though they repeatedly got out of class like 3 times a week just to go and sing a few hymns.
We all had to sing at school, so like there was no getting out of that at my school.
Yeah.
So everyone was gay, I guess. Which is ironic for a Church of England school.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is wearing a t-shirt that's slightly too small.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like a sort of like liberal German wearing a crop top.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It feels like I'm mincing around, like I'm about to go into Berghain.
Yeah. You know what?
My nipples are on full display.
Yeah, it's just the chafing as well that happens whenever you're wearing something too small.
Yeah.
And it's always a
I'm
case,
not going to say I don't enjoy it, but it's there.
Yeah, but are you talking the opposite sex or both? Because this is very different.
I'm talking my own nipples.
Right, okay, so you enjoy the nipples?
There's a pleasurable element to serious nipple chafe.
I highly disagree. The one thing, it's always whenever someone's went to the gym for like a month and then they just buy a size down and everything, and you're thinking, that's a nice top if it came in your size.
But sometimes you get something out of the dryer and it's shrunk a bit.
Yeah, there's not much you can do.
You don't really have anything else to wear. And you end up wearing this sort of like, tank top business.
I find it just fucking disgusting. Like, especially as a bigger man, I'm not going to wear something that my fucking belly's spilling out of.
Yeah, right.
Or my tits are poking out of. So whenever you see an obese person in a crop top, you're just like...
Don't see him very often.
Yeah, but just come on.
Number 2?
Number 2 is, we spoke about this briefly last week, but ordering a half pint. Just make up a mind. You either want the pint or you don't.
Yeah.
There's no shame in just ordering a Coke or a water if you don't want to drink. But I don't know. Just
is it really gay though?
commit to a pint or don't bother at all. That's my thought on it.
Is it a bit like having a mocktail?
Yeah.
Same feeling.
To me, anyway.
Yeah. My number 2 is having an ice cream in a cone. Like walking around and just like tonguing this ice cream. Yeah. And like it's a hot day. It's sort of dribbling down the side. So you're basically like sort of going like base to tip on the cone, trying to get the dribbles off so it doesn't get all over your hands and stuff.
And then it spills onto your hand and your
bonus points for getting a lemon sorbet. You know.
I think sorbet just in general is gay.
Yeah. That's so like village review. The idea that sorbet would be gay.
What actually is sorbet? Is it just like
there's no cream in it. Like
right.
Yeah, it's made with like
pretty gay then.
Water and stuff and fruit. Yeah.
Is it nice?
It's delicious, absolutely delicious. It's my go-to actually.
I'm sticking to ice cream.
Yeah. You're the kind of guy that thinks a gelato's gay though. Yeah. Your number 1, Aidan.
My number 1 is vaping. Just get that little.
Do you think
Android
it's gay
cock
though?
out of
Because
your mouth.
so many straight guys do it.
I still think it's gay. Just if you want to fuck up your lungs, smoke a cigarette like a real man.
Okay.
Especially people as well. It's like, you're guilty of this. You're a vapor on a night out. Like, whenever someone has it, you're like passing it, you're grabbing it.
Mate, I have approximately 1 nanomilliliter of any drink, and I'm like, pass
Give me
that
a
over
vape.
here. Yeah. My number one, and I think we can all agree that this is the most homosexual a straight man can ever feel. It's walking next to your mate and accidentally touching hands.
And you don't know whether to like overcompensate and joke about it or ignore it.
Do you
Either
speak
way.
up?
Yeah,
Or
I
do
feel
you,
like
do you stay silent and let it pass?
I think I'd speak up.
Yeah.
I think I'd try and address it and sort of inadvertently make it.
If this
more
happens
gay.
with a girl, it's like
Fireworks,
it's like a sexual awakening.
yeah.
Even though obviously she doesn't give a shit.
It's like, you know, in all those American films, like a school rom-com, whenever they fall and they're picking up their homework and they accidentally bump heads. That's what this feels like.
Do you think that's ever happened to anyone ever?
Absolutely not.
In real life?
And if it did, they'd just be like, "Watch where you're going, you dick."
Only Americans drop homework. It's in my backpack
Who the fuck's walking about with like? They're always walking about like this.
with like 9,000 books, bro.
Yeah.
You got a laptop, bro. What are you talking? Yeah, and it's like, yeah.
Were you the type of person? So whenever you were in school, was it mainly laptop, or did you still have like textbooks for every subject?
As soon as I was like 13, it was laptop up.
Yeah.
No more really lugging textbooks around.
I had
that
textbooks until I finished school.
much. Really?
Were you the type of person that just kept every textbook in your bag, or you packed them for your subjects? Because there were some nerds in my school that were sitting every night being like, "Oh, well, I have French tomorrow," and like just packing the individual ones.
Yeah, but a school bag full of textbooks is basically it's like, you know, carrying around a sort of orangutan on your back. Like it's heavy.
It is heavy, but it was great for. I don't know if you've done this in your school, but you would stand either side of a corridor and wait until someone's passing and swing the school bag.
That wouldn't happen at my school.
Yeah, well, the
That would
heavier
be
the
deemed
bag,
unacceptable behaviour.
what it is.
Yeah, I think so. I was not a guy who lugged loads and loads of textbooks around, but I also had a locker at school, so all
We
my
didn't have
textbooks
those.
were in the locker. So
Yeah, there's no lockers in my school. Was it a thing at your school? I know you're saying the school bag throwing was unacceptable, but again, in the mornings whenever everyone was waiting to go to class, there would be like the year groups would be standing either side of a corridor, and they'd wait until like a first year came through, and then just start pinballing them the whole way down.
there's no way that would ever happen.
nah.
Mate.
It was
Absolutely
so
not.
it was so hard to watch, especially when someone's properly stuck in it and they think they've got out, and then they're just through back down the fucking corridor again.
No. We had a nice thing in Leavers Week. We put up a display of everyone who'd been expelled.
How many people was it?
We put up like a thing, a like sort of display where they usually put like kids' shit, finger art or whatever,
Yeah.
and it said like "Rest in peace" to everybody who'd got expelled for stuff.
You probably get expelled for like very like stupid things in your school, would you have?
I don't know. It was things like, I don't know, drinking at school. You know.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair. That would be the case across most schools.
I once had a shot of vodka in a school toilet, and it was it was warm, straight out of my school bag. I've been carrying it around with the textbooks. Just to like act hard. It was absolutely disgusting.
You're trying to get it down you without flinching, but you're dying inside.
Mate, it was like having a cup of tea, but it was vodka. It was so hot. In Singapore, it's 35 degrees, so yeah, absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, that was your ranker. Now we're going to move on to questionable. This is our audience participation segment, and we're coming at you with a hot and steaming dump of a question this week. We asked you, what is something you'd only publicly confess on your deathbed? Turns out you guys were liars because you did publicly confess this now. Unless you're all terminally ill, I guess.
This is a cancer-themed episode, you said yourself.
Oh, true. Yeah. Like, we're keeping that through line going. So, these are anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
There were some that were too, like, horrifying. Like, they would just get cut straight out.
Yeah.
Like, literal admissions to two crimes. So,
Is there any murder admissions?
no murder, but there was some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some sort of family business, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, let's start off. This girl was giving me a proper hard time in a retail job I had when I was 20. One day, I found a hardened piece of poo in the changing rooms.
Just sitting around?
Maybe it's your bloke from Tesco who shat on the floor. He's gone into Primark.
He was a serial shitter, to be fair. He didn't just hit Tesco.
No. He was like the Pink Panthers, the bank robbers. They hit every jewel store in the Middle East, mate.
Yeah.
So I found a hardened piece of poo in the changing rooms, and you got to be a sick fuck to do this. I ground it up and put it in a coffee jar. I watched her drink it for weeks. She made occasional comments about the taste, but continued to drink it.
That is the perfect crime.
I don't know. I think that's absolutely disgraceful.
It is disgraceful,
yeah.
But no one's ever finding that out. And
I've got
the
a lot.
colour blends in so similar.
Yeah. How are you grinding up the poo? Do you have... He's probably put it in his weed grinder, hasn't he? Just a sort of boulder.
I want to know the size of it, because you know those things you're like bashing.
The thing is, for the ideal mix of coffee to poo, you don't want a lot of poo, because otherwise she just throw it away.
Yeah.
If you want her to seriously drink it, you need to...
Small nugget.
Yeah, it's you got to ask your local artisan or craftsman for the ideal blend, I would have said. Next one. When I was a student pilot, part of the training was to have solo flights without the instructor and navigate around for a couple of hours. I also have stomach issues. And one day when I was flying solo, over an hour away from the airport, my stomach had a bad turn. It got serious fast and I just had to go. While flying the plane, I took off my trousers and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have anything else, so laid down my underwear flat on the seat and just went to town on it.
Surely there was a plastic bag or something at the very least.
I then managed to wrap it up with my underwear before throwing it out of the window. I don't know where it landed.
That explains that story from a few weeks back where there was like frozen shit landed in someone's windscreen.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found the culprit.
We found the culprit. I don't really... I think you could confess this on your deathbed and move on with your life. Like,
yeah.
I don't think this is actually that bad. Like,
I don't think anyone was harmed.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Being said, I was hit by something quite hard a few weeks ago.
What was it?
When I was hiking. I don't know, it just fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one. I pawned my dead granddad's Rolex and found out it wasn't real anyway. I took a $5. My dad's been looking all over for this £3,000 watch for years.
A $5 for it as well. What's the point at that stage?
This guy has a serious drug habit. There's no other reason for this. And a $5 is not helping you out a lot there.
Like I remember whenever FIFA points was the thing, I sold my PS3 for 60 quid just to buy more FIFA points.
How did you play FIFA? I was gonna say you made a really bad call there, and you only realised when you got home. Oh fuck! What have I done?
It's like selling your PS3 controller to buy a PS3 game.
Yeah. Oh mate, that is funny. What else is it like? like selling your house to pay the gas bill. Something like that. Yeah.
Selling your car to buy a custom license plate.
Yeah. Next one. I was in a long distance relationship and I cut a hole in a pillow and painted eyes and a mouth on it. And whenever we FaceTimed, I would, quote, use it. Ugh.
That's just disgusting.
The bit that really gets me concerned, because I understand, I've seen American Pie, he shags a pie in that film. People have urges. I understand some people will shag a pillow if they really have to. It's the painting the face on it that really gets me, because now we're getting into sort of Jeffrey Dahmer territory.
Yeah. That's strange behaviour.
Did she know? No. Was it out of shot? Did he frame it? Right?
So is he fucking this face? Is he wanking over it? Is he...
I think... He's sort of simulating fellatio while she
surely she's aware of it then.
Dirty talk over the phone. Yeah.
She must be aware of it's on FaceTime.
If she's okay with that, I mean, she's a keeper. Next one. I once watched my dad consume a full bag of nicotine paste, in quotations, that he found in my room that was actually speed. I was too scared to tell him the truth, and he called my bluff and had all of it. He decorated his and mum's bedroom in about 45 minutes.
It's a very productive afternoon after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just funny.
We should have done that before this double record.
What, speed?
Yeah, it would be done already.
That's true, it would have blazed through the other. I don't think that's a bad one. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Once at the age of 10, my mum took me to get a new pair of chinos.
Is that
it? Whilst trying them on, I accidentally had an extensive bowel movement. In panic, my mum went and bought them at the till. This was before self-scan. We then went home, washed them, and returned them the next day. You're a bad person.
Yeah, returning those things is rank. That is awful.
I think if you shit yourself at Marks and Spencer's, you have to tank the 20 quid. You can't come in back and give them back your shitty trousers. There's some bloke walking around now with someone's soiled M&S chinos.
He doesn't know what them chinos have been through.
Yeah, he's taken them to many weddings.
That feels almost like sexual assault.
It feels a bit criminal. I understand you're a 10-year-old kid, but that means your mum took back your pooey trousers.
Yeah.
And it means that she went and bought them at the till
with shit
in them and was not questioned.
I don't know whether this is generally the case, but I feel like if I shit on anything, I'm not even trying to wash it, that's getting through out.
Yeah, is there any coming back from that? No.
Have you ever shit on an item of clothing really badly and not just decided to chuck it?
I don't think I've ever shit myself very badly.
That's pretty impressive.
Had a dribble once.
Yeah.
Summer.
Like a shart.
It was summer 2022. It was my favourite pink shorts. They went.
I sharted playing GTA 5 one night at 4 o'clock in the morning. But it was only it was very small, the same as yourself.
Yeah.
But I was just
caught you by surprise, right?
Yeah, I'd just drank a fucking 6-pack of Coke and probably ate nothing but Doritos for about 3 days.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I just thought I'd chance a fart. And then I was like, lads, you're going to have to start this race without me. I'll be back in 5.
I'm going to have to pit. Oh. Oh, I didn't know it made a noise. How do I get it to do that? I just sort of hit it. It does ding, but there's no sort of button.
She's going to hang up.
Oh, shit, yeah. Ah. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. Wow. Wow. Well, I've just had some breaking news in Down the Wire from our music correspondent, Whitney Hounslow in central London. This is today's news. Today, of course, being the 18th of September, 1970. Now, we're movers and shakers in the scene. Mm-hmm. We're big,
big time players.
We live in a world where broadcasting is still a respectable industry. We live in I think it will always be done by respectable presenters and people like that. I don't think anyone will ever get in trouble because you've got to be an honest and trustworthy person to do the news, etc.
Especially in this country.
Yeah, exactly. And the BBC is a fantastic institution of integrity. So
I don't think they could ever let something like that slip through the cracks.
Never. It would be a huge scandal. Anyway, what show my kids absolutely love? Have you heard about Jim'll Fix It?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant show, awesome show. Love. I can't remember the presenter's name. He's a bit of a new guy, so.
Yeah, I see a lot of potential for him though.
Yeah.
You should try and get a meet and greet for your kids for Christmas.
Maybe we should get him on the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're big players in the sort of scene. We were at Ronnie Scott's jazz club last night. What did you get up to? Because obviously I pulled, so.
You sort of left early?
I had to left early. It's fortunate that I had a hotel booked in advance, and I told the wife I was going to be,
business trip.
Yeah, I told her it was going to be a business trip. She thinks I was in Reading. But yeah, I pulled, so I didn't go. But obviously there were a few people there. I think who was there?
Jimi Hendrix was there.
Jimi Hendrix was there.
He was going on about like an afters he was having at his gaff.
An afters?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I went back there for a few hours. But I don't know, I didn't see him after a while, but I did leave my bong in his kitchen, so I'm going to have to text him or get in contact for him to drop it round.
What's a text?
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, so Jimmy was there. There were a few people from the music scene. I think a couple of guys from the Kinks were there.
Yeah, the shit ones.
Yeah, the shit ones that nobody knows with the shit haircuts. I don't really like them that much.
No.
And then there were a couple of guys from Love Island.
What's Love Island?
Yeah. So you left your bong. Impressive with you that you had it on the night out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember him saying before I left that there was going to be a shitload of barbiturates, right?
Yeah.
And like more hash than the Beatles had smoked for the whole of the past decade.
Yeah.
And he is one of those guys. This is why I didn't really want to go. He's the sort of guy that gets his guitar out of the afters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to fucking listen to
He's also really fucking greedy with his barbiturates. He was not for
Oh, really?
sharing
He
them.
wasn't sharing barbiturates?
He sold us the dream. Free barbiturates.
You love
Clips.
barbiturates?
Yeah, I couldn't get near them.
Really?
He was just hogging all the barbiturates.
That doesn't surprise me that much, because do you remember how couldn't get hold of him the next morning?
Regarding the bong?
Regarding the bong. Yeah, he's just been pronounced dead, unfortunately. And do you know what they found in his system?
What's that?
Shitload of barbiturates.
The autopsies came back already?
Yep.
It's a quick turnaround. Fair play, Whitney.
That's how full he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, Whitney Hounslow would know something about overdosing on drugs.
He was only a couple of years above us, too. You're telling me he's dead just like that?
Yeah, so he's only 27.
Yeah.
Which, that's a sad age to die. I don't think anyone else... It's pretty unlikely that people would die that young ever, so...
Yeah.
At
least we still have Jim Morrison. You can
Yeah.
always rely on there being like a bit of a party at his gaff. And he's here for the long haul.
Yeah. He has the best parties.
Yeah.
And long may it rain.
He will outlive us all.
Oh, absolutely. He's the picture of health, that guy. But yeah, apparently he choked to death on his own chun. Well, he's always been a bit of a chunder wonder,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. And I'm not talking about Stevie, because Stevie can hold his
Yeah,
beds.
he can hold his liquid.
Yeah, he was actually going to be there the other night,
Yeah.
but he got lost. Yeah.
So stupid.
Ended up in Harrods. Yeah. But yeah, so I guess you must have thought he was holding his drink well if he didn't chun once at the afters.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway, R.I.P. Jim Dog. You will be missed. Thank you once again for listening to another top tier. We really are pushing the envelope with every single episode of this. We just keep getting better and better. I think you would agree. That was great satire at the end.
100%, yeah.
That was good stuff. That was jokes, guys. You have to get on board with this. So thanks so much for subscribing. Make sure to press the subscribe button, get your tongue out and hit the mouse with your tongue and like it and stuff and give us a rating on Spotify. I don't really understand how all those programs work, but basically listen to that shit because it gives us some money.
Basically, yeah.
Anyway, thank you once again for listening, and back to you in the studio.